I'm Joshua Roberts and I'm the director of Reflecting Absence.
We might kiss. We are alone. Nobody's watching. We might take it home.
The backdrop to my trailer is the events of 9/11. Now, despite this not being the main focus of the film, it sets the scene and lets people understand what it's actually about. For this, obviously, I had to research in similar products. I watched documentaries, and I also looked into personal accounts of what happened on the day of 9/11. Now, this obviously gave me great insight into actually what happened on the day, took me back to sort of what actually happened on the day of 9/11. I then decided that I would use news clips. Sort of, again, this hit the audience on an emotional level and send them back to 9/11, to that day on September 11th, 2001, so they can kind of understand and remember what it felt like to be witnessing those events, taking place right in front of them live from New York. So I tried to incorporate, what actually happened on that day, phone calls that were made from the planes, phone calls that were made from the towers, what was happening on the streets, just to, commemorate, what things that people didn't quite get to see on the news reports. Every individual person's, they're participants within the day of 9/11. So that's why in the film you'll see the phone call that Jack makes to the media. What he's saying, someone actually did say that to their wife. That phone call was actually made word for word. And I felt by doing that, it would almost pay respect to the people of 9/11. And I felt, instead of just making something up, these words were actually people's feelings. This is what they were thinking, this is what they were saying at the time of when they knew that their plane had been hijacked. And so I felt that was more impacting than just making up something, because again, it's true to the day, true to what actually happened. And I feel that it brings, by the audience knowing that, it takes them, they understand what people are thinking, what people are feeling. Unless you're in the situation, you're not going to know. So that's why that was very important to me, to make sure that I included that in the film. I'm on a plane that's been hijacked. I'm just going to say that I love you. I love you so much. Okay, remember that. For my story text, I decided to do a film magazine cover and a film poster. Now obviously these two story texts needed to reflect what the film's about. And what the film is about, two people who are married, in a relationship, who on one day that's taken away from them and they've both got to change their lives, especially the man's wife who's got to learn to move on with her life. So obviously, as you can see, the main focal point is a picture of the couple. This obviously indicates that the film is about these two people by themselves. There's nothing else, nobody else in the picture, nothing going on in the background, it's just them. And obviously, as you can see, the main protagonist is protecting his wife, he's got his arms around her, they're embracing one another. They show that, they do, especially the husband, he protects his wife, he's there for his wife. As you can see, their heads are tilted into one another, and touching, which again shows that there's a bond between them, that they're inseparable. The main emphasis of the film is the absence between these two, and especially the absence that the wife feels since the husband's death, which is why I decided to have it much bigger font across the whole of the image, so then that really stands out. The first thing you see, apart from the image itself, is the word absence. And then obviously with reflecting, I thought I wanted that to be slightly smaller and just resting on top of that, which again I feel had its own message. It really does imply that the film is about absence. The colour of the photograph, I used a cross-process effect, which kind of gives it this bluey, yellowy kind of tinge to it. which after doing my research on film posters of this particular genre, I found that most of them, rather than being various different colours, bright colours, they're quite blue block colours, some blues, yellows, pale colours, which obviously I needed to reflect in my poster. Originally I was going to have a picture of the Twin Towers either side of the couple, but I felt that this image overpowered the main image of the couple, which in the essence is what the film is about. It's about a couple, it's not about 9/11, it's not about Twin Towers. That is the subplot to the film of how a man died, but it is about two people moving on with their lives and their lives changing dramatically. So then I decided to take that image away, but I replaced it with text, which reads, two people torn apart by two towers. And I feel that this really does impact, it sends a message, okay, it doesn't say the Twin Towers, it doesn't say 9/11, but you read stuff, say two people torn apart by two towers. It's not a nice image, you see that something's going to happen to these two, and we're saying two people, you relate back to the people that you see in the image. It's my second ancillary text, which is of a magazine front cover. Obviously I decided to use Empire magazine. Again, similar to the film poster, there's another picture of the two couple together, embracing one another, their heads are tilted in. She has her arm on his shoulder. Again, just looking at that image, you can tell that no matter what this film is about, these two people are in love, they support one another, they rely on one another, and there's a closeness between them. Into various magazine front covers, I realised that they use bright colours, but it's not different colours, they tend to stick with the one or maybe two bright colours. And for my magazine cover, I decided to use blue with white writing and with black writing. Again, you can see the reflecting absence is across the picture, with absence being larger than reflecting. Again, like I said, the film poster, this puts emphasis on the fact that there's absence between these two people, there's absence within the film. What I've learnt from my audience feedback is that the message is easily portrayed within the trailer, but it is also adaptable depending on how you look at the characters and how you look at the plot of the trailer, and how you see the world and how you see 9/11 and how you see romance. But I've also learned from my feedback that the audience would have liked to have seen the protagonist's wife upset, see her emotions when she found her husband had died. And originally this was going to happen. You were going to see her crying, you were going to see her angry, physically break down in front on the screen. But I didn't feel that this was necessary because, again, this isn't the whole point of the film. The whole point isn't about her grieving, it's about how she takes her grief and turns it into something good, and how she manages to move her life along even though her husband, the one person that she depended on, is no longer here. So overall I decided not to include it into the trailer because, again, I felt it would kind of take away from the emphasis and the whole point of the film. The main media technology that I've used has been my media blog, which can be found here. My media blog was used as a way of recording my research regarding my film trailer. My blog consists of research into similar products, film reviews, important filming dates, locations, script, and everything else that went into the contributions of the filming of my trailer. My blog is also a way of documenting everything that I've done. Once again, this includes film locations, script, the shots I'm going to use, and the filming schedules. I also use Final Cut Express. Now, this is an editing software which allowed me to edit and create my film trailer. I also used YouTube. This allowed me to watch and listen to trailers. By using YouTube, I was able to see what techniques have been used in creating a trailer, and what works well and what doesn't work well.
Make sure my baby has a good time. I want you to take her fishing.
To record my film trailer, I use a Canon video camera. To edit and evaluate my film trailer, I used a MacBook. This allowed me to have the correct software that I needed in order to edit my film trailer. Once again, I'm Joshua Roberts, the director of Reflecting Absence. Thank you for watching my interview, and I hope you enjoy the film.